Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. As I like to remind you each and every day, it expands our base. The news this morning is clear. Donald Trump has been held in contempt of the gag order on 9 out of 10 items. All of those offensive remarks down. And he's been told that he will be fined $1,000 for each 9 counts where he has failed to do what he was supposed to do, and that is not have contempt for court. Now, the question is, what do you do with a defendant who holds the court in such contempt that he continues to violate a gag order, that he continues to make the kind of statements that Donald Trump is making? And we're going to find out what the judge will do, and we'll find out what Donald Trump will or won't do. But there is a more fundamental question. What does it mean in an American election when a person running for political office has contempt for court, has contempt for the criminal justice system, who blasts that system at every opportunity, and yet continues to do well among his base and continues to do well in terms of the polls relating to the presidential election? I have a question. What's happened to the United States of America? I mean, truly. During the Nixon years, blow after blow, and slowly, Nixon eroded. It eroded because he was proven to have contempt for the Constitution, and he tried to abuse the powers of the presidency. Why is that same sense not translating to Donald Trump? Is he truly a Teflon president? And what does it mean for the American political system when something like that happens? I was amazed, astounded, when Mitch McConnell, who so clearly denounced Donald Trump's activities on January the 6th, announced he will support whoever the Republican Party nominates and refused to be critical of Donald Trump's actions after January 6th in statements he has made in the last few days. The same thing applies to others in the Republican galaxy. They seem willing to use not only contempt of court, but contempt of the Constitution. Now look, I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I don't care if you supported Donald Trump or didn't support Donald Trump. At what point do you say, enough is enough? And that's the real question that we are going to deal with in November. It is important, the issues that differentiate Donald Trump and Joe Biden. No question about it. And I believe a majority of the American people will support Joe Biden on critical issues, whether it has to do with support for Israel, whether it has to do with a whole host of domestic issues. It amazes me when I hear that we are now in a situation where a former president of the United States can be held in contempt of court, and no one seems to really care who supports him. And what about the actions of January 6th? I listened yesterday to Adam Kinzinger, the former congressman from Illinois and member of the January 6th committee, and he expressed the same outrage and, I must say, upset that somehow the message of what Donald Trump does and continues to do has not penetrated too many people in the Republican Party. I do not understand. I cannot comprehend how the American people, or a portion of them, can support a person for president with a record of Donald Trump. Now, there's a lot more to go in this trial relative to Stormy Daniels. And it is an important trial because it is now being clearly demonstrated that Donald Trump orchestrated the payments to Stormy Daniels. It may be that he will be found guilty. But the question becomes, beyond this trial in a courtroom in New York, what about what happened on January 6th? Are we prepared to put it behind us? I have to tell you, I hope not. I hope the American people understand not only contempt of court, but contempt for the Constitution, contempt for the American political process, and I would even say contempt for American voters. Do you remember when he said some years ago that he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and his supporters would still stand with him? It is that kind of contempt for his supporters that I find so repugnant. So we will see. We're going to watch what happens in the court today. We're going to watch carefully to see what the ramifications are of that gag order. 9 out of 10 issues. We're going to see whether he follows the court's ruling and takes them all down. This is a real question. By the way, it'll be 2:15 Eastern Time when those offending posts have to be removed. Will Donald Trump comply with the court order? And if he doesn't, what will the reaction then be? Not only by the court, but by the American people. Around the political world with John Rothman should be dealing with substantive, hard. Instead, we are absorbed with an American politician who has contempt for the very system which elected him president. It is astounding to me, and I hope disturbing to you as well. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand. And I want to say a special thank you to the wonderful producer of this podcast, Gogo Zoger. She makes sure that Around the Political World with John Rothman is up and running every day. And let me tell you, I can't wait for tomorrow. Right here on Around the Political World with John Rothman. See you then.
Facepalm America is a show for progressives and others on the left who want to keep up with the ridiculousness that this country dishes out, find out what cable news misses when they're waiting for Trump to appear at a podium, and also, every once in a while, get a laugh at how silly this hot mess of a nation of ours really is. If that's you, listen to Facepalm America. You can go to facepalmamerica.com or find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.